Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
My microphone on. There we go. Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we are so happy to be back. Thank you for the night off last night. I had a great time at the concert with my family. It was fantastic. If you've never seen Lindsey Sterling, Apocalyptica, or Hailstorm, you're missing out. You really are missing out. What a freaking show. All right, we got Samuel Chong on tonight. We're going to get into UFO Encounters. We're going to get into what's going on into the disclosure movement. A busy show indeed the next couple of hours. So first, let's say hello to Mel WD-40 in the gold medal position, lubing up that top spot. Race fan with a silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee, sharing the bronze medal tonight. Kitty Caddywhack, Paul Shreves, Frankie B, how y'all doing? Paramarv, how you doing, buddy? Attorney at Large, Michael Morris. Gory Tiger, nice to have you back as we continue on with our roll call here. JSCO and Mama Catherine, I love you, my dear. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you for the lovely text message this morning. I so appreciate you. Thank you for your love. All right, Anil, how you doing? Flat 6, good to have you here. Benno is here. Benno will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Scrolling on down, we got T-Bone, my man. How you doing? Cosmic Joe, nice to see you. And who's next on our list? It's Ozzy Ange. How you doing, Ozzy Ange? Nice to see you. As we continue on with our roll call here, let us say hello to Jaquetta. J. Paul is here. J. Paul will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. Right of the studio. You got to be quick because he's going to bed soon. Yeah, he says, I need this podcast to knock me out. We will. Don't worry. Moving on down, we say hello next to, let's scroll on down here. Jeremy Jones, how you doing? Eternity Eternal. Nice to see you. And who is next? Thomas Rock. Good to have you here. Necessary Dialogue. Nice to have you back. Pam Harris, how are you tonight? And thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. Radio Wendigo, how are you tonight? Undead Jed, Road Flare, and Digger Dog. Nice to see you all here. Roll call next is Mickey G. How are you? Algaray over on Twitch. So excited for Samuel tonight. Did 1,500 standing calf raises in 4 minutes. His legs are jacked for tonight. A little shaky right now. Noble Patrick and Paul Nicholas. Nice to have you all here as we continue on with our roll call. Up next, we say hello to Luscious Jules. Nice to see you, my dear. And in the studio, how are you tonight? I'm Hardcore over on X. We're going to blow your mind tonight, I promise you. This guy is awesome. If you've never heard Samuel Chong, the guy is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You're in for a treat tonight. JMJ12, how are you tonight? Nice to see you as we continue on with our roll call here. Up next, we have Felipe Fierro. How are you, my friend? Cody Eiler and sweet Tony D. Good morning to you. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got aliens. Yes, you do. And no denying that, Joe. Absolutely none. Number 47 in your program tonight, starting at left wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. Bob Thorson, how are you? Nice to see you. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we are going to be talking all sorts of UFO news with Samuel Chong tonight. He is absolutely brilliant. We're going to get into it here momentarily. We are on roll call right now on our YouTube side as we say hello to Matthew Goodka, Alien Critter, and Fap Nuts. Nice to see you all. As we scroll on down, we are caught up. Reminder to all of you, the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. You can actually wear our clothing out in public and be happy that you are wearing it. Our YouTube is open for membership, and we're going to have a great show. It's going to be awesome. That's all I can say. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it. Do me a favor, everybody. It's that time of the night where I ask you to throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show for you tonight. We're going to get into UFO stories, encounters, as well as what's going on in the government side of things. Samuel Chong is going to join us here very, very quickly to discuss all of these pressing UFO matters. Then in hour number 3, we'll have Swamp Dweller kick things off. Follow that up by Josh the Wizard with the UFO report. So let's get right to it, shall we? A certified court interpreter and Chinese translator in Los Angeles, Samuel Chong, was instrumental in organizing Chinese publication of Desmarquet's book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, The Golden Planet, which has been a bestseller in both China and Taiwan, a rare phenomena. He has also translated the book 334% Lies, The Revelation of HM versus Stuhl, an autobiography of the High Master of the Chair of a Secret Society that was started in Germany. He now devotes his efforts to promoting messages of these books and trying to help people out. But he's also, since the last time he was on this show, went and got his law degree. And now he's also working with Daniel Sheehan, activist lawyer in the UFO world, trying to bring disclosure forward. So let's not waste any time. Samuel Chong, it is so good to have you back on Spaced Out Radio. How are you, my friend?
Very good. Thanks for having me again here.
Oh, my friend, you are just moving up the chain here with your knowledge and your work in the UFO world. And realistically, you do deserve a round of applause for the hard work that you have done. Why has this subject become so passionate for you?
because I think we are at a very critical moment of time in which we have to make the right decisions. Otherwise, we are going to be facing a very unpredictable future. And I think it's important for people to work together, not just for the people in the US or Canada, but also for the people in Africa, in Europe, in China, India, Japan, all over the world, to unite together and to have the knowledge to make the right decisions for our future together.
When you got into this field, what did you believe?
Well, since I was young, I just believed that the ETs had far more advanced technologies and knowledge, and we can just learn from them, and we can just maybe progress technologically and spiritually at a much faster pace than in the past. I was thinking that we can just borrow their knowledge and to really just get our acts together.
The fact that you have made this a focus and a passion of what you do, what makes you think that we can all as people make a difference in the UFO world?
Well, I think if the ETs who have far more advanced technologies and knowledge are willing to contact us, then we may just get their knowledge to really get ourselves ready for a very good future. However, I just think that recently people have been focusing too much on the witnesses in the U.S. Congress who testified about the retrievals and reverse engineering of the crashed UFOs and UAPs. I think we should learn from the masters. We should not learn from the ETs whose spacecraft crashed on Earth. That indicates that their technologies are not so far advanced. There are ETs, different ETs in the universe, whose spacecraft will never crash on Earth and did not crash on Earth. And I think they have made contact to us already through this book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, that I've been so eager to share with everyone in the US and in China and in Taiwan, because I think there are a lot of significant facts and knowledge that we can learn from.
Samuel, the passion that you have for finding out the truth, you know, you have done the work both on an educational side and building contacts with, you know, people in the UFO world like Daniel Sheehan, activist lawyer who's been around this field for the better part of 40 plus years. You know, when you started out, you know, doing all of this, I know you came over from China, you were an interpreter for a long time. Did you ever think that you would end up becoming part of the spectacle that we call ufology?
No, but this is something that I really want to do in the future, because I think this is going to be the most significant event in human history on Earth, to have the knowledge that there are ETs in the universe, and there are different kinds of ETs in the universe. Some are advanced, some are not so advanced, and some have visited us, some are just observers of human activities on Earth, and others have helped us throughout history. And I really want to make a difference in the world for the future of humanities on Earth.
How will UFOs make a future for humanity?
They're like our professors or mentors guiding us to make the right decisions. And we are just like students, elementary school students in that sense, learning the basics. And actually, if you really learn about the stories in the Bible, the ancient scriptures in China or India, there have been frequent sightings of chariots of fire, of visits of extraterrestrials. It's just that in the past, people used different languages to describe them. And I think it's important for us to realize that we are not alone in the universe, and there are different ETs to learn from. not the ones that their spacecraft crashed on Earth, but the different ones that who are able to tell us certain things that are really serving as warnings to the people on Earth.
Prior to all of this, did you ever have a UFO experience that kind of changed your life, or did you just research this topic in order to fall in love with it?
It actually had a lot to do with my environment when I was in China. Back in the 80s, the Chinese government was really good at promoting information of the ET visits and UFOs. It didn't have a lot of restrictions back then. So as a curious person, elementary school student, I was able to read a lot of the news reports from the US or Russia about the contacts that people made to ETs. And there was a story in which I remember vividly that according to the report, a physicist was able to get on board of a UFO craft in which he was told that even though Einstein laid the 3 fundamental principles of modern physics, he made a small mistake in which led to the people believing that we cannot go faster than the speed of light. I was thinking that, tell me more. I want to know more about what the ETs have to say about our technologies or modern physics theories or hypotheses, so that we can really travel to other planets. So that's the curiosity I had. And that's I really wanted to learn more from the masters, the people who are the best in their fields. So that led to my research in this field.
Back in your days in China, were UFOs a big topic of conversation? We don't usually hear a lot about that.
That's right, especially in China. But really, the Chinese government had a lot of official reports on alleged ET contacts of Chinese citizens over there. I remember back in the early 90s, there were reports of a person in northeastern part of China who actually saw the landing of a UFO craft.
Oh,
And
really?
yes.
What happened there?
And after he saw the landing, he actually was contacted by the ETs, allegedly came from a moon of Jupiter. And then they were in contact with him just to tell him that we should pay more attention to our environment. And they actually showed him a holographic picture of the natural resources of Earth, including petroleum and natural gas, saying that if you're using this kind of natural resources at this speed, it's going to get depleted in a few years or so that you should find an alternative source of energy. They also, according to him, had a lot of other things done onto him, such as putting an implant on one of his legs, and also having, I know this sounds a little bit absurd, having another female ET to have intercourse with him, so that like inter-species baby was going to be born. And this is documented by a lot of reporters in China. And I think if you look it up, you can find this report in English language. This is called the incident of Meng Jianguo. The last name is Meng, M-E-N-G, and then Jianguo is spelled as Jianguo.
This is a subject that transcends everybody. It transcends politics, religion, humanity, our history. What do you think UFOs are?
I think there are different kinds of UFOs. One is the ones that are really from different planets. And there are different kinds of ETs too, so their spacecrafts are also different. And there's also another kind which is man-made. And I think our military, the US government, the US military has successfully reverse engineered some of the crashed UFOs from the ETs. So they're able to imitate some of the behaviors or some of the technologies of the real ETs. And I think people need to be careful about the perceived threats of the ETs, because if the ETs are really going to invade us, they could have done that thousands of years ago when it was much easier to do so. And they don't have to wait now and to pose as a threat to us. And I think it's mostly because that the government or the military-industrial complex, the defense companies, need more money, more military funding, so that they say that, the ETs are going to be a threat to us. We need more money to build our defense system. I think it's a way to get more government budget or funding for their benefit. And I think people need to be careful and to distinguish the two.
I would agree with you on that, 100%. Fear creates budget. That's one thing we've seen with a lot of governments around the world. Fear-mongering creates budget. And if they could create a fear out of, not having the sky over the United States, under control because of these UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, that's going to create money for defense. And they're always looking for a way to get more money, aren't they?
Exactly. And I think I can tell you the Chinese military was also affected by the UFO UAP phenomenon. They actually did a study. They were thinking whether it would be some kind of espionage activity from foreign countries, or if the UFOs could pose as a threat to the Chinese military. And after the research study, at least in the 1990s and early 2000s, they concluded that they were not threats, at least to the Chinese military or government. They were just something that they did not understand, but they did not cause any issues to the Chinese military at all, even though they were on high alerts. I think it goes the same way to the U.S. military. If some people say that they're going to pose as a threat, then we have to think a little bit more carefully the motive of them saying that, and people need to realize that they want to get more funding from the government.
It's funny you say that, because the Canadian government about 2 years ago or so came out from the Department of National Defense stating that UFOs were not a threat to airliners or traffic in the sky over Canada as well. And we've seen a number of other countries come out with that. But in the US, things work a little bit different. Not that we're saying that to shame the United States or to sit there and say, darn it, you shouldn't put money into this. But it is a different attitude, isn't it?
Exactly. And if people read the book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, they're going to realize that the ETs have been watching over us. They're the watchers, as described in the book of Enoch. And actually, I believe this book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, is a modern version of the book of Enoch. And they're friendly, compassionate ETs that they don't die at all because they can regenerate their body cells and tissues. They're compassionate beings, and they're just like our friends and family members. And they are beautiful, very tall, 9 or 10 foot tall, gigantic Nordic-looking ETs. And actually, they have been influencing the decisions of some of our leaders, and sometimes they intervene, sometimes they just observe us. And if you really look at the history, if you read the ancient scriptures, you're going to wonder, like, who really caused the destructions of the two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah? Who really led Moses out of Egypt during Exodus, parting the sea for him, leading the Hebrews out of the evil rules of the Egyptian pharaohs? who really gave the manna to the Hebrews to eat? Who was Jesus and who was Christ? And there are a lot of questions that can be answered if really people want to get into the subjects. And I think the answers are really interesting. And I think there's a creator in the universe that created everything, including the ETs, including people on Earth. But there are also highly intelligent, highly advanced ETs that appear to be the angels in the ancient scriptures that helped us and sometimes intervened to help us to grow spiritually. And I think people will learn more about it by reading the book.
What is your take on this entire subject that is going on? Do you think that we are at the precipice of disclosure happening? Do you think that we are in a place where we can get comfortable in saying that we are moving the ball forward? Because for a lot of people in this field, myself included, we become a little fickle over what is supposedly happening in the UFO world, with narratives that are going on, threat narratives, disclosure narratives, UAP versus UFO. Are we alone? Are we not? I mean, this is a difficult subject.
Indeed, it is very complicated because a lot of parties are at play, special interest groups in that sense. And it's good to have disclosure because we still have a lot of people who don't believe anything that we say. They just believe in the government or the official press. So I think it's good for them to realize that there may be ETs in the universe that have visited us. And indeed, there are different kinds of ETs that visited us in the past, including the Grace, whose spacecraft crashed. And I think people also need to realize that there are a lot of implications with the disclosure, not just the fact that we can learn from their technologies, but there are a lot of theological implications, especially from the Vatican, from the Christian religions, and also Judaism and also Islam. And I think it's important for people to realize that there's a distinction between the creator, which is God, that created everything, including the ETs, and prophets or angels as described in the ancient scriptures. In China, people are still learning what the US government is doing right now with the disclosure. And a lot of people realize that in the folklore or the ancient stories that the Chinese people are familiar with, there are ETs. But there's also like a group of people in China who just believe in the textbooks, believe in modern science, so-called science, that they don't believe the existence of ETs or UFOs. So I think the future is going to be very interesting when people realize that the truth is not that simple. There are ETs, but there are also man-made spacecrafts that pose as UFOs or UAPs. And there are also fake abduction experiences, holographic simulations that people think that they had certain experiences.
30 seconds to go. Is this healthy for humanity, this subject right now?
I think it's good to have discussions or debates about certain things. It stimulates the mind. It's healthy in a sense. But when you get into the fear factor, it becomes a different subject matter, a different issue. When people have fear, it's not going to be healthy. And as you learn from a lot of the ancient practices, the mind influences the chakras, and the chakras influence the auras, and the auras influence the physical body.
Samuel Chong on Spaced Out Radio. When we return, we're going to ask him a little bit about what is going on with UFO disclosure on Spaced Out Radio next. Good start, my friend. Good start.
Great.
All right. Quickly here. Hello, Philip Blair. Hello, number one. How are you tonight? And why do I sound so loud? Right there. Okay. Let's see here. Carol Amario, how are you? Nice to see you. Exquisite, thank you for coming on in. And let's see. That's all caught up there. It's all caught up there. We good. We good.
Great.
Having fun yet?
Yeah, I think we can delve into some of the more interesting things, like these secret societies and who is in control or something like that.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, T-Bone. Appreciate that gift for one of our great listeners. You're the best, buddy. You're the best. T-Bone, the most selfless listener I know. Thank you, buddy. Go here. All right. Is it starting to get cooler down there, Sam?
No, it's still very warm here.
Oh, send some of that this way.
Yeah. How about you?
Right now it's about, well, let's get a little look here. Outside the studio, it is 7 degrees Celsius, 45 Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's pretty chilly.
And it'll get down to, let's see, it's 7 a.m. It will be the coldest at about 37 Fahrenheit and then warm up to about 59 tomorrow afternoon. Now, well, the good news is they've canceled the snowfall for Sunday. That is good news. Didn't really want to see that just yet. Don't need anything like that. Mama Catherine, thank you. Love you, my dear. All right. We got about 30 seconds. Thank you to Mama Catherine, T-Bone with a gift membership, and Pam Harris for the great super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. I think we got about 40 seconds, 45 seconds. But who am I? I don't know. Timer just seems to run out and every now and again, and then we can't figure it out. And let's see if we're coming close here. I think we got another 20. Yeah, we got 25 seconds. Oh, 15 seconds. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store because you're going to want that stuff before Christmas, and we do not have ugly swag. You don't want your family wearing ugly swag, so make sure you go get it. Smokes a lot. How you doing? Here we go. We're into the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in as we have Samuel Chong coming up here momentarily. We're going to talk to him about some disclosure, maybe some 3i Atlas. Hey, but first we want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. A good friend of this show, Samuel Chong, is here. We're going to get into a little bit of UFO disclosure here coming on up. Samuel, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you.
I want to ask you first off, what's your thoughts on 3i Atlas, the comet that's allegedly flying by Mars, but it's made a couple of detours back and forth, and people are wondering whether or not it's an actual meteor that's just acting strange, or maybe there's something a little bit more alien about this. What's your thoughts?
I think it's a little bit strange the way that it's behaving, but I wouldn't worry too much about it because, we are human beings on Earth. We are just living here, being protected, being watched by the friendly ETs. They wouldn't allow something to happen, destroying our entire civilization. And I think if it causes any issues, they would intervene and to help us to really be able to survive here. But on the other hand, I also think that people should realize that there are things that are going to happen in the future in which the ETs will not intervene, because the best way to learn is to learn from some of the things that we can help ourselves on. Because as the old saying says, God helps those who help themselves. So in order to survive here for the long run, we should not be able to rely or just to think that we can rely on the ETs. And in that sense, we should be able to develop our spirituality and technology at the same time. Because if we develop our technology faster than spirituality, then without the spiritual aspect of everything, we are likely going to destroy ourselves with the technologies. So this is something that we have to pay more attention to, is that this is a good way to develop our technology, of good opportunity. But at the same time, we also need to learn that we should be able to exist here on Earth peacefully, because we are all the creations of the same creator. That's the spiritual message that we should be able to know.
Now, I personally believe 3i Atlas is a meteor. I'm just saying it's acted very strange, and I think there's been too many people rushing to the fact that there's no possible way that this could ever have been some sort of UFO alien technology. Yet Avi Loeb from Harvard University was very much on point, saying, look, I believe it's a comet too, but we can't rule it out until we actually have the evidence. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he is a very careful scientist or astronomer, and I respect his opinion and also carefulness and prudence in this subject matter. And I think we should not reach the conclusion too fast until more evidence is presented. However, I do want people to realize that when they really want to know certain things, they should also look at the circumstantial evidence and not just to rely on one source.
Let's switch topics and go to the disclosure movement here, because we've seen a couple of hearings. We've seen alleged whistleblowers come out. I'm not sure what the difference between a whistleblower is and an experiencer is, or an eyewitness is, if you take away the job title or former job title that many of these people have. A lot of people like myself are feeling fickle about it, just rolling our eyes every time we hear the government talk about disclosure, ufology, what's being hidden, what isn't. It seems like it's turned into a game, Samuel. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, I agree. It's turning into a game. One witness after another witness is going to go and testify, and gradually people are going to learn more about what the government or certain sections of the government kept secret. And I think it's important for people to know that there is a branch of the government that has been able to successfully reverse engineer some of the crashed UFOs, the ET vehicles. And however, that's not as important as to realize that there are ETs who have been in touch with us throughout history. And the reason that the ETs, those kind of ETs or advanced ETs, not contacting the government leaders is for one reason: they don't trust the politicians, and in the U.S. or elsewhere. And the second reason is that they want us, the people, to start to realize what is really going on. Because if you look at history, great revolutions always come from the bottom, the grassroots level, from the people, from the mass. It has not come from, it didn't really come from the government or the politicians at the top. Because the politicians are elected by the people. So the ETs really want people to engage in activities or movement in which great changes happen. They want the people to realize that there is a fact that the ETs have been visiting us, and the ETs have far more advanced technologies. So we have to get ourselves act together, not just to rely on the media or the government. So this is something that I want the people to realize, that they have the power. They have the power to make a change, and we have the decision. We have the right to make the right decisions. We just have to really put ourselves into action.
I think you hit on a very important topic that we need to discuss here, and that is this hidden group. This hidden group that is allegedly controlling this, because you are right. The people who may be calling the shots on a topic like this don't really care about the politicians, because they're on term limits for the most part. Maybe not Congress, but the president is, his team is, okay? They're on term limits. So realistically, asking the president to come out and say, aliens are here, they don't really need to do that, because the president is busy doing presidential things at this time. At least we hope, right? So, I mean, it's easy for this group to try and push the secret back. So my question to you is, what is this secret group and who's in it?
A lot of people say there's a deep state in the US. And I want to say that there's not only a deep state in the US, there's a deep state in the world. To them, there's not a concept of countries or nations. The deep state controls all major governments in the world. They control the financial system, because I used to believe that I could make a lot of money in the financial market, playing the stock market, buying and selling stocks. But once I realized that they can just print more money, I gave up that game. Because if you are the Warren Buffett, if you are the richest person in the world, you are still not going to win the game, because they can just print more money, dilute what you have. If you read the book, The Community of 300 by Dr. John Coleman, you're going to realize that they're the descendants of the shareholders of the East India Company of the UK, and they are the people who run everything behind the scenes. They control some of the financial institutions, the central banks, and people used to think that the central bank of the U.S., the Federal Reserve, is actually controlled by the government, but actually. This is what the government is trying to do, trying to take control. It's actually run by financial institutions. They have their shareholders, and the financial institutions have their shareholders. And who really control the financial institutions or the Federal Reserve? You have to really dig into that. There are a few families that do it. And actually, in the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, it talks about the financiers. And I actually asked the author, who are the financiers? And Michel, the author, told me when he was alive that there are 12 families in the world that control everything. And yes, the Catholic Church is one of them. And I kept asking him, who are the 12 families besides the Catholic Church? And he said that the ETs didn't tell him. And I guess it's our homework to find out. Interestingly enough, I translated a book from German to English. That's the autobiography of the secret society that was founded in Germany. That's the autobiography of this highest degree chair of that secret society that talks about how they manipulate the politicians in the world, how they manipulate people's minds using a specific form of astrology and numerology, and also social engineering. And it talks about how they organize themselves. And I think the secret societies are also at play, not just the politicians, not just the deep state. It's a mix of everything. They interact with each other, with the secret societies manipulating the 12 families or the financiers. And the deep state also controls and manipulates the politicians on the stage. It's a very complicated interaction. But they're all afraid of the power of the people. So if you get into that, you're going to see that even though the secret societies have members who have psychic abilities, who have supernatural powers, they're all afraid of the power of the people, because of the power of the mind of the mass is so powerful that even though they have psychic abilities, they cannot overpower the mind of the people. And I think as sooner or later, people are going to realize that the politicians elected by us are not the real people in power. I mean, they appear to be in power according to the media, but they're not the ones really in power.
If we look at just the United States, a lot of people believe the Rockefellers are involved on the UFO world, going back to the book that the Clintons had, or that Hillary Clinton was seen carrying around on UFOs with the Rockefeller Initiative. Do you see a group like the Rockefellers maybe controlling this subject in North America?
I think if you know the names, then they are probably not in control anymore. The names, according to Danny Sheehan, are all the names that the public doesn't really know or familiar. And if you're talking about the conspiracies of the military-industrial complex, those are the people who are like in control of the CIA or the three-letter agencies, and some of the names are not well known by the public, and I think it's important for people to realize that it's more complicated than just the names of the families that people know about.
If there is a group in control, is it outside of what we call the Gang of Eight that seem to continuously, the last 3 years, really try to shelve any UFO funding in the defense budget? Is it outside of that? Or is it control, or does the Gang of Eight, are they in control, being controlled by this group?
The Gang of Eight is their puppet, and because the members of the Gang of Eight, they change over time too, but this group of people, they influence the Gang of Eight, so it's outside of the Gang of Eight.
So if it's outside of that, are they not being influenced by the lack of budgeting that is going on? Or is that just because of sheer ignorance and stupidity that they keep shooting down the Schumer rounds bill?
There's a group of people that my friend in the Bay Area has personal knowledge of, and they have tremendous amount of financial resource. I'll just tell you the story of what happened to my friend. He practiced Qigong when he was young. So he had some kind of psychic abilities, and he was able to levitate when he was young. And it turned out that like back in the early 2000s, he visited Hong Kong. And through different connections of government officials, he met a very mysterious person, a Chinese person, who drove a Rolls-Royce and who had a very beautiful secretary next to him. And they were in discussions of certain things, esoteric knowledge, including the different bloodlines, including the different structures of the financial system that people don't necessarily know about. My friend was very skeptical of everything because he was very down to earth as well. And he really didn't believe anything what that person said. And the person, in order to convince him, took him to Hong Kong, a private service of the HSBC, like the private banking service for the VIP people. And then using my friend's passport, an account under my friend's name was opened. And then $5 billion US was deposited into his account immediately. My friend was shocked. He asked that mysterious person, where did money come from? And then they told him that they had the ability to do so by taking money out of the financial system in a certain way that's semi-legal but not entirely legal, but they had the ability to do so. they also explained to him that there are people who really are their agents, like George Soros that kind of are part of the system. And then my friend was really, really shocked at this because he believed that the money came from the central banks. But according to that mysterious person, it did not originally. It came from a different system. And then it kind of funneled through the central banks and then funneled through according to them, get into the financial system. So I can tell you, like, there are a lot of things that the public doesn't know about, that this group of people has the ability to do so. And is kind of mysterious that that group of people also manipulate or kind of can foretell who the president of China was going to be.
Why? Sorry for interrupting. Why do you think they want to keep this subject quiet? What is the benefit to keeping this subject under wraps?
For a lot of reasons. I think personally it's because the ETs have a lot to say to the current state of the world that we are living in right now. The ETs warn us that the number one danger on Earth is money, because the military-industrial complex wants to get a lot of money out of the system. So they have to really keep a lot of technologies hidden from us. For example, if we know that there's a way to get clean energy out of water, then a lot of the oil companies are going to be out of business. Stanley Meyer is one example. He disappeared or died mysteriously after he invented a car that ran on water. The ETs in the book Thiaoouba Prophecy encouraged people to look into hydrogen engine. And it actually says that people who invented such engines are no longer able to do so publicly because of the special interest groups. So this is one reason. And the other reason is that the politicians have to rely on this special group to remain in power. So they have to really follow the directives or the directions of this group of people. And I think this is another reason. So there are a lot of factors at play, but we people can make a change.
And I would agree with you that we people can make a change. It's just, it seems at times so helpless, as we got about 90 seconds to go before we have to go to break.
Well, the ETs really tell us what to do. One is through collective actions, using nonviolent resistance to rise up against tyrannies in the world. If we act together, have a strike in a nonviolent way, then the powers, the financiers, the military-industrial complex are going to lose humongously. We, the people, are going to lose very little. So we should imitate what Gandhi did in India, or what Dr. Martin Luther King preached.
Is that possible?
It's possible. We have to act collectively, internationally. It's not just by the people in Canada or in the US. It has to be organized collective action by people over the world.
Now, to get all those people doing the same thing that we need, that's the tough one.
If people have the knowledge, then certain things that happen are going to be helpful for them to make the right decisions. And I think certain events are going to happen. And once those events happen, they can make the right choice if they have the knowledge.
Well, we're going to find out more about this as we get going here to wrap up hour number one. Samuel Chong is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. pushing for disclosure. That's exactly what he is doing, and that's exactly what we are trying to figure out here on the Mighty SOR. Samuel, it is so good to have you back on the show. And when we come back in hour number 2, we're going to continue with the topic of disclosure and some of Samuel's favorite encounters that he has researched, studied, and learned about. We're going to have some fun with that. Samuel Chong, our guest on Spaced Out Radio. We will be right back. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, my friend, we are clear. And we're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to put you in the green room, and we'll be right back, okay?
Great.
All right. Be right back, everybody. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Bring Samuel back in. Anybody else join in? Let's take a look. Oh, you guys all showed up early. Good stuff, people. Good stuff. Granola Grin, how you doing? Good to see you. Hi, Ross. We got about a minute to go here, Sam.
Yeah, I was looking at the chats.
They're loving you.
Yes, I'm reading it. Yeah, the book is really interesting. It's different from any other book I've ever read.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed.
And actually, I would actually also encourage you to read it. If you like, I can send you a copy.
Absolutely. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you prefer to read a hard copy or electronic?
I like hard copies.
Okay.
That's just me, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give me your address and I'll send it to you.
Okay. Appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. 15 seconds to go. Thank you to Mama Catherine, Pam, and T-Bone with a gift of a monthly membership. Thank you, T-Bone. Appreciate your love. And we're coming back here in 5 seconds, everybody. Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is this? Abomasum. I don't even know what this is. This is tough. Abomasum. There we go. Abomasum. Abomasum is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our guest tonight, Samuel Chong. He is very much involved in the UFO world as we continue on talking about disclosure and the effects that it might have on humanity. Samuel, thank you so much for being here. Welcome back.
Thank you.
What do you think the effects would be of disclosure?
Well, it really depends on what kind of disclosure. If people are able to understand that there are ETs who have been watching over us throughout history, then people are going to be able to understand the importance of spiritual development, spirituality over technology. Because if we don't develop our spirituality, then we're going to destroy ourselves eventually with nuclear wars or other weapons. So this is why I really want to encourage people to read the book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, because I'm not selling the book because I don't get anything out of it. It's a book that people can find it free online. But it tells the story of an encounter of the fifth kind in which the author was taken by the ETs to their planet for 9 days and then came back. If people realize those are the ETs who have been documented in the ancient scriptures in the Bible, they're able to realize they're also sending messages nowadays to people on Earth, giving us warnings, warning us to really pay attention to what's going on around us so that we can make the right decisions. They also want us to look inside for answers because the kingdom of God is within you. We are all the creations of the Creator. So we don't really need a government or the media or a religion to communicate with the Creator. What happens is that when the Creator created every one of us, it inserted a tiny portion of itself to each of our astral bodies. We can actually pray or meditate to communicate with the Creator through a higher self. So look inside, for instance, and not to be influenced by the government or media or some of the testimonies in Congress, even though it serves some purpose for the disclosure. I think it's important for people to have the knowledge that we are all spiritual beings having a physical experience, and we all go through different reincarnations to learn the different spiritual lessons. And this is what the ETs tell us. And this is the significance in theology when disclosure happens. And I think it's going to be a big impact, and we should be ready for that.
What are some of the flaws that disclosure may cause? We talk about the positivity of it all, but there are potential negative drawbacks on this as well. The economy, for one, energy, jobs, how people react if they find out ETs are here and real. I mean, there's a lot of determining factors on this, Samuel.
Yes. I think the biggest direct impact will be on the organized religions because they have to really adapt to the fact that there are also other extraterrestrials that come and visit us or in the universe. They have to incorporate such a new fact into their theological doctrines or belief systems. But I think the real advantage for the disclosure is that people will realize that we need to be spiritual but not religious, because religions are organized by people and to serve their own purpose. I think the Catholic Church or Judaism or Islam are going to be the religions that are greatly impacted by the disclosure. When people realize that there are also technologies used by the ETs, and I think it's going to cause a lot of turmoil to some of the industries on Earth, and especially in the pharmaceutical industry, because in the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, it talks about the importance of the human energy fields, the mind influencing the chakras influencing the auras, and the auras influencing the physical body. And if we are able to have the right mindset, the positive mindset, we are going to be, by and large, healthy. The Western pharmaceutical drugs treat the symptoms, but not the root causes of the diseases. I think when people have the knowledge, they're going to discover better ways to improve their health. For example, using acupuncture or using herbal medicines that have direct impact on the auras or the human energy fields. This is another area in which people can do additional research. And I think there are by and large positive impacts, not a lot of negative impacts, unless people realize that unless people are misinformed about the threats of the ETs.
You've worked closely with Daniel Sheehan recently regarding this, and I know we brought him up the first half hour of the show, but what is it like working with somebody who's been so committed to trying to bring government transparency to this subject?
I hope we succeed. He is an incredible person. He has a photographic memory. He is able to remember everything that happened in the past. And he has great integrity and logic, and working for the people. He's really people's advocate. And he actually has a book called The People's Advocate, telling what happened to him when he was young and on his journey to becoming a lawyer for the people, and what happened in the Iran-Contra case, the Pentagon's Papers case, and also Watergate, what happened during Watergate, and who really killed the President JFK. And he has a first-hand experience in that. So I suggest people to check out his book. The title again is People's Advocate. And working with him has been my tremendous pleasure, and to be involved in this historic event in human history, not just for the Americans, but also for people in the world. And I think people also can check out his interviews on YouTube.
Do you think we are drawing closer to answers?
I think so. I think, again, if people read the book, Thiaoouba Prophecy, they're going to know a lot of the answers of the paranormal, including ET visits, including the Great Pyramid of Egypt, including the Bermuda Triangle, including which Catholic Church Council meetings intentionally distorted the original meanings of the ancient scriptures in the Bible, including the dangers on earth, the real dangers, including the political systems in the past, in the ancient civilizations like Lemuria. So people can get all the answers from this one book. It's a very thin book, only about 180 pages or so, but people are able to get a lot of the answers that they've been searching for. It really depends on the people.
Well, let me ask you this before we move on in topics here, because I do want to get to some UFO stories that I know you have, that has intrigued you for a long time. But as we continue to press forward and we have these hearings going on, a lot of people, including myself, getting a little bit, eye rolling with the whole idea that we need these types of events. I mean, because I think it's more created a spectacle than something for actual potential information on the subject and moving the ball forward. So my question to you regarding this is, do we need more UFO hearings? Are they benefiting anything outside of the television cameras?
I think we do need more UFO hearings in Congress, because we in this field, in this circle of friends, know what's happening here in the US in this field. But there are still a lot of people in the rest of the world who don't know anything about the UFOs, the UAPs. It's only through the official government media can they learn about the existence of ETs or UFOs. I think it's helpful to have more hearings so that people who still rely on the mainstream media can have started to think more about this subject matter, especially for people in Africa or people in other parts of the world, to realize that there are ET visits that the U.S. government have been hiding from the public. I think it's helpful to have more.
But every government, for the most part, is hiding these secrets. Whether it's the United States or China, where you're originally from, Japan, Canada, but even the smaller countries out there, whether it's Ghana or Saudi Arabia or Peru or Iceland, like, this isn't just a major country event here. This is happening all over the world, and yet every government is silent on it.
Yeah, this is a mystery to me. I mean, why is the case? I think it's because they're all kind of influenced or at least manipulated by this group of people who are connected to the military-industrial complex. And I think only through the mainstream media can more people become like better thinkers and to think about the implications of the disclosure. Because to be honest, a lot of people in China are still worrying about their survival. And people in Africa, they worry about their daily lives, their existence, their survival in their countries. And I think only through some kind of vehicle can they learn more about different possibilities and the impact and the significance of the existence of ETs in the world, in the universe.
So how come we don't hear a lot of reports out of these smaller countries? Take the African continent. We don't hear a lot about UFOs coming out of there. I mean, yes, there was some cases. The Ariel school incident was one, but we don't hear a lot of it happening. We don't hear a lot of it happening in Southeast Asia. I mean, whether it's Thailand or Laos or Vietnam, Singapore, we don't hear a lot of it coming out of there. We know it's happening, but is this just because that the people there don't want to talk about it? Maybe they don't care?
It's actually reported by the local media in a lot of those countries. They're not really reported by the Western media because the local media, when they report such events or such sightings, they just make a small news story about it. They have more important news, according to them, more important news to cover. And those smaller news stories about UFO sightings are not followed by the Western media. So this is why we don't really hear about those. But they do have some reports of sightings in some of the smaller countries as well. And I think the local people are just people who don't have any explanations of the sightings.
Let's move over to some sightings. I know these intrigue you. What are some of the best sightings out there that we don't even know about? That really don't get enough attention.
The real ETs with far more advanced technologies will come in a way in which very few people will be able to observe them. For example, in the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, they came to outside of the home of Michel Desmarquet through a portal. They did it just so that the neighbors of the author would not be able to see them. So this is why when you see some of the sightings, the UFOs tend to appear from a specific location in the sky. Because if they have the knowledge, the technologies, they will use the portals or warps in the sky that appear like ribbons floating around, which is kind of like a natural phenomenon that explains the disappearances of the ships and planes in the Bermuda Triangle, and also the missing people in the national parks, as documented by David Paulides. So they're able to use the portals to come in and out of our world. But some of the other sightings, like the triangular-shaped drones or sightings that we see and get reported, those are probably man-made UAPs that don't necessarily know how to utilize the warps or portals. I want to bring attention to the real ETs who really know how to use the technologies to come and to visit us. They don't intervene unless when it's absolutely necessary, our activities, because they believe that it's better for us to learn on our own than through their interventions. But the ETs or the experiences that some of the abductees describe having this kind of radiation or radioactive effect, those are probably from the man-made vehicles, because if the ETs are highly advanced, they know what's going to be harmful to us. They would protect us. They wouldn't cause any harm to us. But the man-made ET simulation experiences will care less about it. They will cause harm to the people who get close to them. And I think people need to realize the distinctions between the two.
What about time travel?
Well, the ETs will be able to travel in time and to see the past. The ETs that Michelle encountered actually took him to the past in astral form. Actually, he saw what happened in the ancient times in some of the more successful civilizations, such as Lemuria, where people didn't have money because they were highly spiritual. No one took advantage of each other. They just grabbed everything they needed from the marketplace. And they loved flowers, just like the people in Hawaii. They loved different kinds of flowers. But the ETs really encouraged us to study and to do more research on time machine. It actually says that the US scientists were developing time machine, but they made a small mistake. They should focus more on the vibrations, frequencies, rather than wavelengths. So it actually makes me think about the Philadelphia experiment when the government was trying to cloak or to make the ships disappear by projecting certain wavelengths of energy onto the ships that cause a distortion of time and space.
About 90 seconds or so to go here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Samuel Chong is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Do you believe then, if aliens have the ability to time travel, that we have figured it out as well? Do you think humans can time travel yet?
Well, it's a little bit more complicated. I think some of the psychics are able to travel in time in astral form. They could see the past. What happens is that if we are able to travel in time to our past, we cannot change the past, but we are able to observe the past. So this is why it's important to really read the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, because when you visit the past, you're going to see everything appearing in front of you as a holographic film. We are not able to change or influence the decisions that people made in the past. It's just like a holographic experience that we have. Some of us may have. So in essence, if we have a time machine, we can see the past, but we are not able to change the past.
No, I understand that. But do you think, though, that we currently have, 20-second answer, do we have humans here right now who maybe have time traveled? Yes,
I
no?
believe so.
You don't think so?
Yes, I think so.
And here I was hoping that you would say, yes, we do.
We do, yes, I think we do. We have time machine already.
Where is it being hidden?
There are anecdotal evidence of people who saw the past And I
Well,
think
let's hold that. Let's continue it on. This is a subject that needs time. We come back with Samuel Chong. We're talking time travel on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear. Thank you, Jason Finch. Excuse me. Just for you, Whoopoo. Oh, I love the time travel story. Dry Toast, the best name on YouTube, right there. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. It would be kind of cool, you got to admit, to walk into a time traveler. Samuel, don't you think?
I think the time machine is different from a time traveler. I believe that there will be a time machine available right now, but not time travelers from the future.
We'll get to that next.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun though. I love this topic. Show's flying on by right now. Flying on by. Thank you again so much, Samuel, for doing this tonight.
Oh, no worries.
I'm glad you reached out.
Yes. But I'm really not very good person at speaking about time machines.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to some audience questions here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you like one or two more, then we'll get to some audience questions after that. Okay?
Yeah.
That'll be
Because
fun.
I don't know the answer for time travelers.
That's
Do
okay.
you or not?
You don't have to. I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
I don't.
it's going to be my guess if I have to answer that. The time machine exists, that for sure I know. Yeah. That people can see the past and probabilities of the future.
Oh, I'm biting my lip here. I have so many questions on this right now, but I want to make sure that I don't ask them during the break because that's unfair to the radio audience. We got about 50 seconds.
Do you come to Los Angeles or do you travel at all? Or?
I don't travel much. seems like every time I go to travel, I get a big bill that comes up, and it kind of kills that plan. But I usually do an annual trek to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't been to LA in so long.
Mm-hmm.
So long. Thank you tonight to Mama Catherine, T-Bone, and Pam Harris for the wonderful super chats and the gift of membership. Really appreciate your love and support. AJ, how you doing? Good to see you. And we're coming back in like 5 seconds. Here comes the second half of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Final time tonight. Samuel Chong is our guest. Right before the break, Samuel, you said that you don't think that we have humans that have time travel, but you believe there is a time machine somewhere.
Yes. I believe there's a time machine somewhere that people can see the past and probabilities of the future. But in terms of taking a person to the past physically, I don't think that's possible, at least for now.
What do you know about this alleged time machine where we can view forward or backward?
Actually, if you know about Nostradamus and also some of the psychics who say that they can see the past, then there's a way to do that by building a machine. Actually, in the book Thiaoouba Prophecy explains that whenever a planet is born, is created, there's a psychosphere, like a cocoon rotating at the speed of 7 times the speed of light, absorbing or taking all the events happened on the planet into this kind of psychosphere, so that when the person or as a psychic or using a machine, if they can match the vibrational frequency of this cocoon or psychosphere, then they're able to enter the record of the past. So this is a way to access the Akashic record. Some of the people can do that with practice, but you can theoretically also build a machine that matches the vibrational frequency of this psychosphere so that you can see the past. And then the future is uncertain because the future depends on our actions. So the best you can do is to see the different possibilities or probabilities of the future. The future is not determined. It's yet to be determined by our collective actions. So I think in that sense, a time machine is possible, but taking someone physically to the past or the future, I'm not sure if that's possible.
Have you ever met or talked with anybody who has allegedly seen this?
Yes, Michel Desmarquet, the author of the book, saw the past. He actually not only saw the past, but also his past lives. The ETs, using their psychic abilities, took him to his past in astral form. And he saw the different reincarnations he had in different lifetimes. And also he saw the event that happened 14,500 years ago when the entire continent of Lemuria sunk into the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, almost overnight. So they're able to do that. There are people like this. Michel Desmarquet is one person. There's also a book that writes about there's a monk in India that took the author of the book into his past lives, into the past. And I think the person's name is James Churchward. He met a monk in India. And there are also other kind of monks who claim to be able to do so. So it's possible.
Weird. It's just weird. I want it to be true so bad. I do. Let's get to some audience questions here. Let's start off with T-Bone here, who is asking, Samuel, when you look up the Thiaoouba Prophecy on Wiki, it's not available for search. Then found out it was deleted by users May 5th, 2009. Do you know why this happened?
Apparently, it's according to the policies of Wikipedia that they only create like a page if there's credible or mainstream media reporting on that. Thiaoouba Prophecy was not reported or has not been reported by the mainstream media. So that's the reason the page was removed by the people there.
Yeah, Wikipedia has been having a lot of troubles recently regarding these, lack of a better term, information terrorists who are trying to control what can and cannot be said on that, especially in the UFO world, where number upon number of people have had their profiles changed, and they've even been locked out of their own wiki profiles to correct the information. And this group of hackers, not hackers, but these group of wiki trolls who allegedly control the editing of profiles will block them out of their own ability to update. It's really strange.
This is why it's important for Elon Musk to create an alternative to the Wikimedia.
Stick with T-Bone here. He is asking, do you and Mr. Desmarquet maintain in touch?
We used to before he passed away in June or July 2018. I was in constant communications with him back then. He actually told me some of the things he knew but couldn't write in the book. And that's the whole reason why I'm so pushing so hard in promoting the messages in the book, because there's a very important information that he was told not to write in the book.
For once again, for people who may not know or just tuning in, who is Mr. Desmarquet?
He is the author of the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, a French-Australian who didn't have a lot of education. He was a landscaper, a farmer who didn't know how to type on computer. But he wrote this book that has a lot of specific verifiable details of his personal experience, that he was taken by the ETs to their planet for 9 days and then came back. I was able to verify a lot of the details in the book. For example, the tomb of Jesus in Japan, and also the antibacterial effects of yellow light and blue light that the ETs used to disinfect him when he entered the spacecraft.
Right. All right, let's move on to another question here. Let's go next to Jaquetta, who is asking, Sam, are there any science fiction movies that you feel are close to the actual ET encounter?
Not really. Not the ET encounter that Michel Desmarquet had. Probably with the Grays, the movie E.T. may be a little bit similar to that. But in terms of the E.T. from Thiaoouba, in the book Thiaoouba Prophecy, no. No.
You don't even think Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Well, I think it may be possible to some of the encounters, but not to the encounter that Michel Desmarquet had in Australia.
That surprises me.
Because the ETs in the book Thiaoouba Prophecy are so advanced that their knowledge and information and warnings to us are so profound that you have to read the book to understand more. And yes, there's a tomb in Japan. There's a Jesus tomb in Japan that the book describes that matches the description that people can find online.
Luna is asking, any knowledge or thoughts on Aleister Crowley summoning an alien gray creature he called Lamb by using dark rituals? You mentioned psychics and astrologers. Is spirituality the portal for contact?
Well, it's possible for members of these secret societies and others to summon a UFO or ET using telepathy. It's a very good question, actually. Members of the secret societies have kept certain knowledge secret. The knowledge that existed in the past. For example, in ancient civilizations such as Atlantis or Lemuria. If you read the Old Testaments of the Bible, you're going to read the magics performed by the magicians of the pharaohs. Because in the past, as those in the times of Moses, there were schools of magic that taught people how to perform such psychic feats using their mind, using certain techniques. And similarly, if you are able to handle those, you're able to be able to summon or communicate with ETs very easily. And people with psychic abilities or special abilities, when they encounter ET, they are able to communicate using telepathy very easily. And they're actually documented that in certain books of such events that happened, communicating with ETs telepathically, initiated by the people who have ESPs or psychic abilities.
Are you a firm believer in the whole psychic phenomena then?
I am, yes. I actually know someone in Southern California who has such abilities. And she is Chinese, so actually she's my client, one of my clients. She is able to communicate with ghosts or spirits of the past, of the people who passed away. She is able to see the organs of a person, like she has X-ray eyes. So such people exist.
Have you ever personally tried any of these experimentation of meditation to contact or some sort of summoning of UFOs?
I have not tried to summon a UFO because I really want to navigate the system without their assistance, because that way I can learn as much as possible. It's just like solving a calculus problem. I just really want to do it on my own without the assistance of any teachers or mentors. But I could do that. I could seek for help. The key is really go into a meditative state, activate your subconscious mind, and in that state of mind, you can concentrate and to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So that's actually the secret some of the knowledge from the secret societies.
I would love to. I would love to summon again. I really would. Let's go to Tony in the UK. Sam, do you think the Thiaoouba Prophecies would make a good film? Maybe Hollywood for Disclosure could be involved with it? Your thoughts?
I think it would be an excellent film or documentary because it's really something that I'm looking forward in doing so, in promoting the true messages that can help people to unite and to live with compassion, with love. And I think if you know someone, or if the audience knows someone, please let me know, because I know the copyright holder of the book, and they are open to any ideas, including making a film out of it.
Where do we go from here?
It's a good question. I think from here, it's just to really be a little bit patient to the disclosure movement. It has to start at the grassroots level. We cannot expect the politicians to do anything that's helpful. People have to act, and I'm trying my best to work with Danny Xian and also with others to start this movement and to really have people to understand that there are other implications, theological or economical or other implications with the existence of non-human beings that have visited us in the past.
I wonder if we put this topic in the back of people's hands, how far it would go. Or would we go back in time the way it was before 2017 and the New York Times article? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, prior to 2017, ufology was very much a topic of fringe conversation. People didn't talk about it around the fireplace, over a coffee. They weren't doing that. It was very much, weirdos like me who were doing this on a nightly basis, so on and so forth. I'm curious, do you think that if we made this subject more about the people again, and rather than the politicians, would that be a benefit to moving the subject forward?
Yes, especially relating to the lives of the people, how to respond to certain challenges in life. Because the ETs tell us that the way to respond to certain challenges that you encounter is to look inside for answers. Look inside through meditation, through prayers, or just have a good night of sleep. In dreams, the answers will be given to you if they're good for spiritual development, because we are constantly in touch with our higher self. And through our higher self, we get in touch with the source, the creator. So if people realize that through meditation, through prayers, that we can really get our answers to the challenges that we face in life, then I think, and this is what the ETs tell us to do, then I think people are going to pay more attention to the knowledge of the highly advanced ETs. And I think we should pass the words to the people who are interested in the subject matter.
Do you think the ETs want to communicate with us? Or is this just another selfish human trait?
I think the ETs want to help us indirectly, at least the ETs from Thiaoouba. They helped Moses in the past, parting the sea. They sent Jesus to us. They have Christ teaching us about the importance of love and compassion, and also reincarnation. And by the way, the concept of reincarnation is removed from the Bible. They actually intervened during World War II by preventing Germany from being the first country to develop the atomic bomb. So they help us from time to time, but they also realize that the way to help ourselves is through our own struggling process. That's the most effective way to learn and to really survive on Earth. We should not rely on them, the ETs, to intervene from time to time. They want to communicate with us when we are ready. We are not ready yet. They actually communicated with us in the past when we had a successful civilization in which people had technologies of anti-gravity and also ways to cut huge stones in a very precise manner. During those times, they had direct contact with us. But nowadays, we are focused on money with the military-industrial complex and the corrupted politicians. They think that we are not ready yet. We have to really be more spiritual at the grassroots level to make the change, and then they will be able to get in touch with us directly.
Why do we keep having this romantic thought that the ETs are going to save us?
I don't have this kind of thought. I don't really rely on the ETs to save us. They actually won't save us unless we have the intention to really save ourselves. I'll give you a story. Like a biologist in Mexico see this butterfly trying to come out of this chrysalis or cocoon, and he wanted to help it by opening up the cocoon, and he did it, and the butterfly came out, but for some reason the butterfly could not fly. As it turns out, the butterfly has to go through this kind of struggling process so that it be able to fly on its own. So similarly, we people as a human species have to go through this struggling process on our own in order to survive on Earth for the long run.
See, I believe personally that I believe ETs are here for both the good, the bad, and the neutral. You know, depending on who you're dealing with. The bad being the abductions that people have happen and so on and so forth. But I do believe there are a number out there, even with the abductions, that are not trying to harm humanity. They're just being scientists the way, you know, we are scientists to the animal kingdom of the world, you know? So that is kind of what I'm looking at with this. In your best 1 minute answer here, just your thoughts really on whether or not this is a topic that you know, or just your overall thoughts on the topic, I should say.
Yes, there are ETs who are behaving like scientists, trying to observe us, putting implants on some of us just to observe how we behave in certain ways, but they cause no harm. There are ETs like the Thiaoubans who have been watching over us throughout history, and they're giving Michel Desmarquet this task of writing a book and warning us what to pay attention to.
Right.
I don't think they're evil ETs at all.
Samuel Chong, everybody. Thank you, Sam, coming on the show. Up next, Swamp Dweller and the Wizard.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio. with your host, Dave Scott.
I was so into the show that I forgot to watch the time. I'm sorry, Samuel. Oh, you're muted there, my friend. You muted yourself. There you go. Oh, now I don't hear you, but I'm going to say a quick thank you here for coming on the show. We're going to do this again anytime you want to come on, okay? All right, buddy. You take care.
Take care.
Samuel Chong, everybody. Great guy. Very smart. Very intelligent. I'll be right back, everyone. Let's bring the wizard in. Wizard, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, Dave.
Right on.
Fantastic.
All right.
Been up since 3:30.
Astro Fugitive, how you doing? The guitar's on the wall over behind there. You can't really see it. Here, I'll show you. Hold on. Let's go here. Hold on, let's go here. There we go. The other guitar is right over there. There you go. There's the guitar. That's where Tim James is supposed to sit, right there. But he's on the DL. He's on the DL. So there you go. All right.
You're just going to have to make it an afternoon show.
Right? Got oh, here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Abomasum. Abomasum is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. This last case was sent to me by multiple viewers, and after checking into it, I knew I had to share it. This case is from Madison County, Kentucky, and takes place in June 2013. To begin, Brooklyn Farthing was 18 years old and was dropped off at a house party with her sister Paige Farthing and their cousin. The trio seemingly enjoyed themselves until Paige and their cousin wanted to leave at around 8 p.m. Brooklyn, however, said she would stay and sleep at a friend's house. She had even brought an overnight bag with her. That plan, though, would never come to fruition, it seems. The party continued, and later that evening, a handful of witnesses claimed they saw Brooklyn get into a vehicle with two young men. The make and model are unknown to my knowledge. The driver of the vehicle apparently knew Brooklyn's ex-boyfriend. Police said the three drove out to a spot on Floyd Branch Road to see some horses that the driver took care of. Then after this, the driver took his friend home and took Brooklyn to his house. Sometime around 4 a.m., Brooklyn texted her sister Paige asking for a ride home. Sadly, though, Paige did not have a license and their cousin had been drinking. Police then say Brooklyn texted her ex-boyfriend and asked for a ride home when he got off work at around 7 a.m. Then, at 4:26 a.m., she sent some very troubling messages. Things like, "I'm scared and please hurry." There would be radio silence until suddenly, at 5:30 a.m., one last text came from Brooklyn's phone. The message is weird, as it said she was going to party out in Rockcastle County and telling her ex, never mind. This was the last time anyone would ever hear from Brooklyn Farthing. Now, Brooklyn's family knew where she was last and immediately, the next afternoon, contacted the man who drove her to his home. He apparently said Brooklyn was acting weird and standoffish at his house, so he went to the horses on Floyd Branch Road to relieve stress. When he last saw Brooklyn, she was smoking a cigarette sitting on his couch. The family claims the man said he returned home at 7 a.m. and saw his couch was on fire, prompting him to quickly call the fire department. According to relatives, Brooklyn's overnight bag and shoes were found in the home, but her cell phone and Brooklyn herself have never been found. A giant search ensued for multiple days after this. Hundreds of volunteers, scent dogs, cadaver dogs, river divers, and more were deployed all over the area. Nothing was ever really found, though. To this current day, investigators have not named any one person of interest. No evidence has been presented either, and Kentucky State Police remain adamant that this is an open and active case. In 2019, however, some troubling news bubbled up in Madison County once again. Two young blonde women went missing in an eerily similar fashion as Brooklyn. They had all suddenly vanished from the same general area. Savannah Spurlock, 22 years old, disappeared after leaving a local bar on January 4th, 2019. On January 28th, 2019, Amanda Bailey, 26 years old, went missing after reportedly meeting with an ex-boyfriend. Her body was found on a farm days later. Much speculation has circled about these cases being linked, but nothing official has been stated thus far. A $14,000 reward has been offered for information leading to Brooklyn's whereabouts. Anyone who can help is asked to send a message on Facebook to find Brooklyn Farthing, or contact Kentucky State Police at 859-623-2404. Welcome back to the Southern Unsolved.
Radio presented by UFO report. The UFO wizard makes his presence known. Josh Brolin just ready to go.
There we go. There we go.
Got you now.
Now? All
Yeah.
right. There, a little bit of a technical snafu there, but that's okay. Josh Rutledge is here with the UFO report, hanging on out with us. Thank you, Mr. Josh. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been up since 3:30 this morning, and somehow I only had one cup of coffee. Somehow I have energy for days. I don't know where it's coming from.
So, you know, it's the romantic side of doing this show. That's what it is. Why were you up at 3:30?
To be honest, I was excited about my presentation at Phoenix MUFON that's on Saturday coming up. And I was like, I woke up thinking about some more stuff I wanted to add into my presentation. So then I tried to lay there and go back to sleep. It wasn't happening. So I just got up and added more stuff to my presentation. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? It is something that that sometimes you get excited over that. I was at a concert last night.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I went and saw, I really wanted to see Hailstorm. I'm a big fan of the rock band Hailstorm, Lizzie Hale. I've seen a ton of her videos over the years, their music. Absolutely loved them. Was extremely impressed that her voice live sounded exactly like it did on the recording. Like, what a powerful, beautiful voice. It's unbelievable. But then I had this really, really amazing surprise for the two opening acts, a group called Apocalyptica, pardon me. There it is. I knew I'd get it. They are a rock band that has no real singer, but the guys in front of the band play cello to rock music.
That
was
sounds pretty
amazing.
cool.
It was absolutely amazing. And then followed up by, what's her name? Lindsay Sterling.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of her music. I love it.
She was absolutely incredible live. Incredible. And what a night. And between all three of them, they performed for probably 4.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an absolutely amazing show. I'm still blown away by it. And man, like I had a good night. I'm not gonna lie. I had a good night.
I really would like to see, I would have liked to have seen two cellos in concert, but they are no longer, they're kind of broken up or whatever. They're taking a extended hiatus with no indication of when they're going to return. But if you go on YouTube and just look up the number 2 and then cellos, and they play some amazing, they like did Crazy Train on the cello, but they do it like they're dressed in like, the attire of when, Beethoven was around and stuff. And they're like sitting in front of a crowd of people who were expecting to see like a classical concert. And instead they get Crazy Train and they're breaking strings. And it's just an amazing, I would have loved to see two cellos. That's like, if I could change anything, it would be to go back in time to see two cellos perform in person.
Yeah, it would be absolutely fantastic to actually see them. I would be absolutely blown away. But last night, it was friggin' amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I don't even know how to put it. I really don't know how to put it. I mean
amazing, apparently, because that's the word you keep using.
I'm still blown away.
Yeah.
To be blunt, I am still blown away by it. And I'm happy I am. I really am, because sometimes you go to a concert, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Say?
Yep. I definitely know what you mean. I went to see Green Day last year, and Smashing Pumpkins opened for them. And that was an incredible concert, but it was like, and this is I'm gonna sound like an old man when I say this, but it was a little too loud. I'm glad that I had brought some earbuds, honestly, because I wouldn't have been able to stay. It was going to give me a headache. So yeah, sorry, I'm an old guy, I guess now.
Yeah, no kidding. It was a good show. Good show nonetheless. All right, my man, let's get into the UFO stuff here, because it is that time of the night. People actually want to hear you talk about some of these UFOs. Your thoughts of it all?
Yep. So again, it's light right now. We don't have any movement on the National Defense Act because the U.S. government's still shut down. We did get something new coming out of Weaponized, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp today. The title of the YouTube or I guess Weaponized episode was a little clickbaity, but it was basically, there was like a UAP witness that did not get a chance to testify at the hearing, and so they wanted to come forward. The individual's name is Daniel Gockerell, Gockerell, and basically in 2006 he was finishing up ranger school in Florida, and on his last jump he had serious injury, like messed up his back really bad, had a little traumatic brain injury, so he was in like basically traction, like you've probably seen those harnesses that like sit on your shoulders and they hold your head straight and you're connected to your back. So he was in one of those, in like a little wellness or hospital shack that was on the base, and he was woken up to the sound of like something powering up, like an engine powering up and then coming down, and then powering up and then coming down. And so he said he like got up and walked up to the duty officer and bummed a cigarette and went outside. And when he went outside, he said about 300 or 400 yards away, there were like these big construction lights. You know, you've probably seen them, like they have a generator and they got the big tower that goes up, these big construction lights. And they were illuminating this black triangle that was hovering just off the ground, about 15 or 20 feet off the ground. He's like, there's all these Humvees sitting around, there's all these lights. And he's like, and it would go up with no sound, and it would just zip immediately off to some distance far away. And then it would just as quickly return back to the same spot, hover for a few seconds, and then zip off in another direction and then come back. He was like, there was no discernible canopy. It had white lights at each corner, or I guess angle of the triangle, and then a single white light in the middle. At one point in time, he said it kind of like banked a little bit to where he could see the top of it, and it was just a black triangle. There was nothing on top of it at all. So again, this was 2006. I think the name of it is like Eglin Air Force Base or something like that. In Panama City, Florida is where the Ranger School is. Anybody in the any Army in the chat or anything might be able to set me straight on that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty fascinating. And it was really funny when if you listen to the interview, he says, you know, when he saw it all happen, he was blown away that first of all, there was no sound from the potential breaking of the sound barrier, which there would have been at that speed. There was no sound of, he said he could hear the generators that were powering the lights over the sound of of like almost no sound of the craft. And he said at the time, because he wasn't really in that area of training or anything, he just assumed that it was, you know, our stuff. That like they were out there testing some really cool stuff, and he just kind of, you know, finished his cigarette, went back inside. He said it was only later that he realized that, you know, it was probably not our stuff and it was something else. But the fact that they were, I guess, interacting or, you know, accommodating our interest in them, it really almost seems like a test drive situation or something. You know, like they're giving us a ride on the ship and letting us kind of kick the proverbial tires. I don't know. So it's a very interesting UAP experience. I would say probably no, not no. Sorry, let me back up. I would say that we have had a lot of people who've had experiences with black triangles, and this one is not anything extraordinary that we haven't heard of before. I think that the difference is that this is a person who is in the military, and so therefore, as a witness, they're often given, you know, more credibility than the average Joe.
I often wonder, you know, why do you think? Well, actually, I'm going to make 2 points because I'm kind of confusing the two right now. Okay, but number one, first and foremost, people, if you want to see a UFO and you're in the military, start smoking again. Okay, I know
Really?
smoking is passe. It's a forbidden habit and hobby for many people, especially the non-smokers out there who are absolutely the worst. You know, bragging how they quit, those type of people trying to be healthy. Come on, get outside, get a dart, and look up in the sky. That's where you're going to see a black triangle. That's what it comes down to. You know.
Well, yeah, maybe there's an alternative that's not as destructive to the body. You know, step outside to chew some juicy fruit or something. I don't know.
Who does that? Anyways, But getting to the other part, I like this guy's sighting. I really do. Okay. I guess the point that I'm trying to get at here, Josh, and pardon me if I sound a little callous with this. It's just another person having an eyewitness encounter.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the fact that it's on a military base or the guy was in the military. He's not a whistleblower. Okay. He's not bringing anything new that we haven't already heard at the table already. Why do we keep, lack of a better term, promoting these guys like they are the second coming of Christ when it comes to UFOs?
Well, I mean, I think that, in this case, I I don't know. I guess I question whether his experience is ultimately from a UAP experience, from UAP sighting experience. Is his experience any different than the one reported by Borland in the hearing?
No.
Right. So the question that I have is why was Borland selected to go on the panel, but not this guy? Like it seems like we have the last couple of panels, we've had like maybe one or two people that are introducing new information that we didn't have before. And then the rest of them are just experiencers who are also in the military.
Okay, so just because somebody has a military tag on them, we have veterans all across the United States, Canada, and around the world who listen to us. Many of them have had sightings, even in war zones.
Yep.
That have told me about it. What's the difference between this guy and, say, Joe or Jane Smith, who was serving in Afghanistan, or maybe at a military base outside of Boston, or maybe at a military base outside of Kansas City? There's no difference.
I mean, other than,
are we going to run the gamut now on everybody who has served, who had an eyewitness account to something strange in the sky?
I would say that the only difference is that in this case for, this Daniel guy and Borland and others, is they've got a connection to Jeremy Corbell, and Jeremy Corbell has a podcast. And at the end of the day, just like you, Dave, I'm sure you run into some situations where you're like, who am I going to have on this week or next week? And you're trying to do your planning. I'm sure Jeremy runs into the same thing. And so it's like, I'm going to throw this guy on there so he can tell his story because it's content for me to put out. But at the end of the day, it's I think the only difference between anybody else and this Daniel guy is that Daniel knows Jeremy Corbell. And so Jeremy Corbell is giving him a voice.
Well, this is what we're going to do here, Josh.
Okay.
This is what we're going to do. You and me are going to put this out there to the world right now. Right now. If you are a military veteran, and thank you for your service. We love you, by the way.
Yep.
If you are a military veteran and while on duty, if you had a sighting of anything weird or strange, email me at Dave at spacedoutradio.com. Dave at spacedoutradio.com. Because if these people's sightings are being heard just going outside for a cigarette while on a break, yours deserves to be heard too.
Yep.
Let's bring it. Let's bring it right now. Dave at spacedoutradio.com. You have to have served in the military. We need a veteran. Spaced Out Radio and the UFO Report with the wizard Josh Rutledge, returning right after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
anyways, I'm doing this not out of disrespect for Jeremy or George Knapp, who I absolutely idolize. I'm not doing okay, but there are thousands of veterans out there who have had encounters that aren't getting the play on this for whatever reason. So if they're going to do it and announce these people as key eyewitnesses, we can do it too.
Yeah, and I would say that you're not going to like the next part, but I would say that that's part of the problem is that there are too many places for people to go and share their story to the point like and none of those places are talking to each other. So there is no massive collection of experience or reports. So I think it's fantastic. Folks want to email you. They're get their stories in out there and so they can be heard. Fantastic. Definitely need an outlet for those folks. But I also think that like we're missing an opportunity to better collab between podcasts and YouTube shows and MUFON and New Fork and everybody and their mother that now has a report a sighting button on their website. That we're missing all those reports. We're from a purely investigatory perspective, we're missing a heck of a lot of key data points because there is no centralized reporting system.
Or a reporting system that you can trust.
Right. I mean, I do have I have some, I investigate for MUFON, but I have some issues with how MUFON operates.
Many do.
So, but they give me an opportunity to investigate. They give me the opportunity to talk to some pretty awesome people who have some pretty awesome experiences. So,
well, you know what? I will say this: out of all the groups out there that are trying to do this, I still think MUFON is the best. I do.
I think MUFON is the only one that actually investigates. Like you can report a case to New Fork, but no one's going to look into it.
Well, yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, the good gentleman there is getting to the age where it's getting harder and harder for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they have an exit strategy for who's going to take over and run things. But if they don't have one, they probably should put one together. I mean, same thing, MUFON's president or CEO or however the title is. I mean, he's no spring chicken either. So.
I agree, my man. I agree.
Did you see my new mug, Dave?
Let me take a look at it here. What's that say? This is some bullshit.
Yeah, and it's got the alien from yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Very nice. Hi there, Alaska's greatest athlete. Thank you for the super chat. Where's Deborah Rooney? Where's Deborah Rooney? I don't see her. Where's she hiding? There she is. Deborah Rooney. How are you, dear? So good to see you. All right. "30 seconds. Thank you to Alaska's greatest athlete, Gifting a membership by T-Bone, Pam Harris, and Mama Catherine for the great super chats. Greatly appreciate your love and support, everybody. Remember, you could shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag. There's none there. None whatsoever. All right, here we go, everyone. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Always a pleasure to broadcast these weird topics to you. My name is Dave Scott. We're talking UFOs with the wizard Josh Rutledge coming up here momentarily. But first, we want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The UFO Wizard, Josh Rutledge, is here with the UFO Report. Josh, thank you so much for being here.
Yep, it's always a pleasure, Dave. I look forward to this ever since I joined the squad, and look forward to these great conversations. Even though it's a little slow right now for UFO stuff, we've got 3i Atlas is still a topic of conversation, and it probably will be until it passes outside of the system in March of 2026. I saw a paper not by Avi Loeb talking about how since before it entered the solar system, it actually has been shedding just nonstop water. And so it's causing, astronomers and I guess astrophysicists and things to think about the makeup of other solar systems outside of our own. So that's pretty cool.
You know what surprised me? Let's talk 3i Atlas here for a quick second. Okay. It's amazing how and I say this, trying to say this with a straight face. It's amazing how angry some people get online when you mention it's possibly a UFO. How defensive they get. Why would you say that? I had one person say to me online recently, it's a meteor. Why would you even think it was something else? Like, do you not know what I do for a living, right? I host a weird radio show. But it's amazing how people in this field just get their back up so quickly. Their hackles out. They sit there in the mirror. Okay, there's somebody who's commenting that might be a UFO. I better bring my claws out and get ready to scratch them.
Yeah. I mean, it's same thing we've talked about before. I think it's a systemic issue with just generally a lot of people in the community. They have their theories about what things are and what is possible, and anything that comes out that questions what they're willing to accept, they lash out. But ultimately, I think that lashing out is just because they're scared to really think about what if and the road or the rabbit hole that would cause them to tumble down. I think where I'm most concerned about it, though, is the actual scientists, the people who proclaim themselves to be people of science. If you're a person of science and you've got this new, all it is this new light that's been detected by, one of our telescopes in space. You know nothing about it, but yet you automatically assume it's a comet or a meteor. Like, to me, that's the more concerning part, because that means that there may be other areas of science where they also are unwilling to explore, other possibilities, and they just take or accept what we already know. And so therefore we're missing out on things in other areas of science.
When we see so much of this happening right now, and going back to what uh, Samuel Chong said earlier, that this is a subject that really needs to get back into the hands of the people.
Mhm.
How can we even do that? How do we find the track that we've covered up?
Well, it's funny that you said the word track, because um, growing up in southern U.S. In the Bible Belt, although we'll call it like the very edge of the Bible Belt, but um, there's these little pamphlets that people used to give out. Like you stop at a gas station to get gas, and there's like a guy would walk up and hand you a pamphlet, and it was called a tract, TRACT, and you would open it up, and it would basically tell you how Jesus could make your life so much better. And I don't want to get into the conversation, the whole Jesus conversation, but maybe that's what we need. Maybe everybody needs have you heard about UFOs? Have you heard that Congress is US Congress is investing money into the study of UFO/UAP? And then everywhere we go, we stick them on gas station pumps, or hand them out to people, or put them underneath the windshield wipers at Flyers games or whatever, so that people, when they come out to the car, if 1 out of 10 read it and think, wow, I didn't know that, we've made progress.
I think so. I think, though, that people really don't know where to look anymore. Like, who do you trust? Who do you tell your story to? I mean, it's easy to go on a Facebook group and say, Josh, hey, I saw a triangle UFO in 2006. Then the questions start. Where did it happen? What did it look like? How many lights were on it? Did it make any sound?
Right.
Did you have any missing time? So they answer that and they think they're done. It's not a real research.
Well, but like, what's the, so I think that's a good distinction. Is it a matter of researching the person had an experience, or is it a matter of validating that they had the experience?
Good point.
So that it changes their perspective of the experience, and ultimately of the nature of their reality. Like, some UFO investigation is necessary. The stuff that gets reported to MUFON or New Fork or Arrow or whatever, that stuff needs to be investigated. Somebody's taken the time to fill out a report. It needs to be treated seriously, and some investigation needs to occur. But like today, I went to the barber and I was getting my hair cut. And I was telling the guy that, I need a cleaned up cut because I'm presenting in a couple of days. And he asked me what I was presenting. And I told him. And he was quiet for a long time. But then he was like, you know what? My wife and I are really into this topic. And so, he was comfortable enough to open up and say that he's had some experiences. He's actually having some paranormal stuff happen in his house. So I think that people want to share their experiences, but they don't want to be the first ones to say something, right? So like, I could have said, I'm presenting at MUFON, and then followed it up with, have you had any experiences? But instead, I said what I was doing, and I left basically the door open for him to feel comfortable to share his experiences. I think we get so excited sometimes about people potentially having experiences similar to our own, or even different from our own. And we push too hard, too fast, and they shut down, or they just, no, I never had any experiences. When in all actuality they have, and they're really looking for answers, but they're too scared to be the one that takes the first step.
Do you think the stigma is still quite live and well, even with the publicity?
I think so. I mean, I think the stigma will always be there, simply because mainstream science reinforces it, You look at Neil deGrasse Tyson, probably the biggest name in, we'll call it mainstream science. Almost every household, I guarantee you, could tell you some piece of information about Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh, he hosted that TV show about science, or he's friends with Bill Nye the Science Guy, or he's an astronomer, or they might even call him an astrologer, but be thinking astronomer. But he came out publicly almost attacking Avi Loeb for taking the position he did on the potentiality of 3I Atlas being anything other than a comet. So the fact that science, mainstream science, is unwilling to even consider the possibility. I'm not telling you, I'm not asking you to go on CNN and say, Avi's right. That thing is extraterrestrial. All I'm asking you to do is, as a scientist, until you have evidence that supports one specific position, you have to assume that everything is possible. So instead of putting Avi down, go out and make a statement. You know what? Science tells us that we cannot know until we collect enough evidence. So Avi could be right. It's probably, a 40% chance, which is what Avi gave it. So that, to me, is that's what is perpetuating the stigma. It's no longer the government or the quote unquote non-initiated that are perpetuating the stigma. It is mainstream science, and every chance that they get, whether you be a local meteorologist or you're Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're using your platform to down anyone who thinks about the possibility of it being something other than a comet or a meteor or swamp gas or a weather balloon or whatever the case may be.
But let me follow that up. And I realize you're not going to know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways for conversation's sake. What does it hurt to even say that? It's not going to hurt your credibility. It's not going to hurt your reputation by just saying it's a possibility.
Right.
You're scientists. This is why you got into the field, was to try and learn about things that are not potentially at this time possible in the present. Why not investigate it, that it might be? And look, it could be wrong. Avi Loeb from Harvard has stated, and I've said this so many times now, has stated point blank that we don't know what it is. It probably is a comet, most likely a comet, but we can't rule it out. There's nothing unscientific about what he said, except a bunch of people having egos thinking that opinion is science.
Well, and I'll take it a one step further and say that if you think your position in the scientific community is that fragile that you can't even admit that it's a possibility, then you should probably do some pretty hard self-evaluation as to where you place your self-worth.
That is beautifully said. Beautifully said. And you're absolutely right. I remember one scientist telling me, he goes, Dave, we're all geeks, man. A scientist is literally a geek. Okay. And I mean that with all due respect. Okay.
Well, it says in the Bible, the geek will inherit the earth, right?
Exactly. Something like that. But this person said, Dave, we're all geeks. We got into this because we read a lot of comic books as a kid. We watched a lot of science fiction as children. All of us did. That's what we're in science for. And so the fact that so many scientists are not coming forward trying to find out more about this was disturbing to him. And this person had a doctorate in chemistry.
Right.
And he was a chemical engineer, and this is pretty much his words, man, was that we grew up on Doctor Who and Star Trek and Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica. We should want to know what's out in the stars.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it boils down to we can point a telescope at a rock, and we can tell you what that rock is made of based on, you know, the light, you know, return that we get back and stuff like that. But if it is truly a let's say an alien craft that's entering our solar system, we may not know what we're going to get back. And so there is some safety in staying within the boundaries of what you know. But like we talked about, that's not the point of science. Science is meant to push the boundaries.
Absolutely. But my friend did say this as well. He said a lot of scientists are worried about the repercussions, and that's why they don't go out publicly. They're worried about the repercussions from the school or the company they work for.
Yeah, I get that.
Research lab that they work for. Okay. They're worried about their tenure. They're worried about grants that, geez, this guy's out there researching for UFOs. Maybe we shouldn't give him that $12 million grant to study cancer effects on rats or something along those lines.
Yeah. I mean, I hear that, but I also think that, like, let's tease that out a little bit. If you're a prescription drug company, and you've hired, you know, a team of scientists at Harvard to do some testing, more than likely when you come out with your new drug that you're going to, you know, come out of that testing with, you're not going to mention anything about the school or the scientist or anything else in the public realm, the court of public opinion. I'm sure there's going to be a paper published somewhere with their names on it talking about it. Published papers are people in the scientific community. Let's be honest. So, again, I would have to ask, you know, how fragile is the view that you have of yourself that you don't feel that you can substantiate, hey guys, we're scientists. We're supposed to think outside of the box. So I'm not afraid to think that there's a possibility. It may be slim, but there's still a possibility that this is not something we've ever seen before. And it's an alien craft. It's always said, well, they would have had to left their home planet, you know, assuming our understanding of propulsion and distances, they would have had to left their home planet millions of years ago. Well, we're pretty sure this thing coming into our space is millions, if not billions of years old. So again, the evidence just as strongly supports the possibility of it being an alien craft that it does being an exostellar comet. I almost wonder if it's a little bit of cowardice, and I'm sorry to say that, but that you're just not willing to take a stance.
That's strong words from the wizard right there. Cowardice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. No, but I fully agree with you. And I think, you know, it's easy for you and I to make that argument, though, because we're so passionate and involved about this UFO story. We want it to be out there. We want to be able to sit around the dinner table, and instead of talking our favorite sports team or our favorite politics or political conversation or Coke versus Pepsi, which seemed to happen a lot in my family, literally, not even joking there. Okay. This is a conversation that should be had.
Yeah.
And it seems like to have that conversation, to find the proper information outside of what's on, you know, being reported on the mainstream news, it's going to be very difficult for those who are ill-informed, not undereducated, but ill-informed.
Right. Well, but I mean, we take as great of a risk in talking about it. You know, you every night, me 2 nights a week, plus the stuff I do on the side. We take as great a risk. It's very easy. You know, it would be very easy. The line of work that I'm in is in consulting. It'd be very easy for the company that I work for to say, hey, we don't like that you're out there every, 2 nights a week talking about UFOs. And they could, end my employment. I would probably claim religious liberties, but they could still do it. So the fact is that there's anybody who is willing to put their neck out to talk about the topic inherits or takes on some risk in doing so, whether it be professional ridicule or personal ridicule or family ridicule. They still take on that risk. So, if you've got a voice and a platform and you're unwilling to take on that risk, then shame on you.
For people who want to start reading up on this, where do they find the right story now? Where's the information?
I started with John Keel books because like The Eighth Tower, Project Trojan Horse, Mothman Prophecies. If your exposure to Mothman Prophecies is from the movie with Richard Gere, you only know like an eighth of what is in the book by John Keel, The Mothman Prophecies. Like that's where I really got my start, is reading those things, and then those branched off to other books and documentaries and things. And I think you just gotta pick a book, one of the three that I just rattled off there, read it. All three of John Keel's books are full of a bunch of cases. He talks about a lot of different cases. Start with Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, about how the OSAP program got started if you're more of a government person. I've got several books posted on my website that are good, like, looking for something to read to get started, might check these out. But after your jumping off point, it's just a matter of, I think once you get started, the universe, the system, whatever, it'll link you to the appropriate things to keep you going.
Love it. The Wizard, Josh Rutledge. We will talk to you next week, my friend. Thank you. As we say goodnight to Josh and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody.
You know what, Dave? I think you ask some of those questions sometimes just to get me all riled up.
Don't mean to, but you have a good opinion. You have a strong opinion. I think that's really good of it. I really do.
I appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna go crawl in bed and hopefully sleep until my alarm goes off.
Yeah, I'm heading up to bed here soon. Tomorrow night on the show, everybody. George J. Haas is going to join us. The Great Architects of Mars. We're going to learn all about Mars and was it developed. Thank you to Alaska's greatest athlete, Pam. Membership gift by T-Bone and Mama Catherine for the great super chats. Greatly appreciate it. I'm going to duck out. I literally drove 5.5 hours today. I'm tired.
All right.
So, Josh, thank you very much. To the rest of you, thank you. Hi, human Carl. Science Bob slept through it. He fell asleep shortly after dinner, and he slept through it. That's what happened. He apologizes. I'm going to try and get him on later this month because I do want to have him on. So we'll see how that goes here in the next few days. See you tomorrow night, everybody. Much love, and thank you for tuning us in tonight.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.